I'm Andie. I write and tell stories. Now this story is called The Sleepover. It's all about little A and her friend Tamara. Are you ready? Minnie and Pop's great big Victorian Gothic house occupied a large corner plot near the campus and held a certain fascination for little A, for it was the biggest house she had ever been in. The labyrinth of rooms was full of big, creaky, heavy, dark oak furniture, and it always smelt musty. On the dining room wall was a large stuffed trophy swordfish mounted on a block of wood, which little A just knew would attack as soon as her back was turned at dinner. She always kept an eye on it just in case. The large gardens around the house had tennis courts, whose weeds and broken concrete showed years of neglect, but was nonetheless a great place to play. Tall pine trees shaded the house and provided natural boundaries to the property, as well as perfect dens where Tamara and little A could often be found with their dolls playing make-believe. Having been allowed to stay the night together in the big old house, after the little girls had run away, Tamara and little A were put into a large corner bedroom with two big sash windows on either side. This would have let in a great deal of light, had it not been for the heavy velvet drapes and lace curtains which hung sorrowfully at the windows, making the room feel dark and shadowy. The bedroom had a stuffy feeling, with its dark oak chest of drawers, all hung about with a white lace runner covered in several layers of dust. Tamara and little A would play with the delicate glass perfume bottles and knickknacks which still stood on top of the bureau, long since used by Tamara's great-grandmother, for this had once been her bedroom. An old wooden rocking chair stood silently in the corner under the far window, and a pair of twin antique brass beds were neatly made up, their high mattresses and ancient feather pillows dressed in starched white linen. Little A noticed a distinct smell of lavender and furniture polish as she clung to Tamara's arm when they were shown into the room by Minnie. Little A had stayed here before, but always felt uneasy in the lonely room at the end of the hall. Tamara often reminded little A that my great-grandmother died in this room, and that little A would have to sleep in the deathbed. This was the bed next to the wall, where the old lady had died in her sleep. Little A shuddered. That evening, after Tammy and little A had thanked Minnie and Pops for their supper of delicious buttery cornbread, sausage, and black-eyed peas, the little girls headed up the long, wide staircase to the bedroom where they were to sleep. As little A crept up the steps behind Tamara, she noticed the oil portrait of Tamara's great-grandmother, which hung on the stairwell. "Tamara," whispered little A, "the eyes in the painting are following us." She felt a chill right across the back of her neck. "Yeah, that's because it's not really a painting. It's a ghost," said Tamara in a serious voice. "It watches us all the time." This scared little A so much that she ran up the steps, two at a time, and dashed down the dark corridor to the bedroom. The girls weren't ready to go to sleep yet. They were too excited and scared. "Why don't we explore the house?" suggested Tamara, who knew that there was a large attic above their bedroom. She also knew she was not supposed to play up there. "Do you think we should?" asked little A, who would rather have stayed in the bedroom with Tamara and played with their dolls. She felt safer in there than creeping about the old house, despite having to sleep in the deathbed. Oh, come on. It'll be fun, pleaded Tamara. And besides, I think there could be old toys up there in the attic, or dressing up clothes. Little A frowned and wrinkled her nose. She still wasn't sure about Tamara's plan. Tamara was always thinking up daring things to do. But when Tamara opened the bedroom door and headed out into the dimly lit hallway, little A quickly hopped down from her bed and followed her friend. She wasn't about to be left alone in the bedroom with the deathbed. Scampering along the great hallway like two scared mice, Tamara and little A stole past the top of the landing and the portrait, trying not to look at it. I'm scared, whispered little A. Me too, but it's fun. Come on, up here, said Tamara, pointing to a short flight of steps. The two little friends tiptoed up the bare wooden floorboards to a small door at the top. It wasn't as tall as a normal door. In fact, the little girls had to stoop to turn the big key in the lock. Creak. The old door groaned open and the girls peered inside. The attic was dark, save for a shaft of light from a small window with metal bars across it, and the soft landing light from the hallway below them. It looked creepy. Can you see anything? Whispered little A, who stood behind her friend. Uh-huh. I think I can see an old trunk over there. Look. Little A peered across the room as her eyes gradually became accustomed to the dark attic. I see it. The girls tried to look brave in front of each other as they felt their way past several old boxes of clutter, odd pieces of furniture, an old lampshade, and an ancient wind-up record player until they reached the trunk. What do you suppose is in it? Asked Tamara, as she blew a cloud of dust from the top and wiped it with her sleeve like this. Beats me, little A shrugged. The old trunk had once been used for storing fine clothes in, long ago when ladies and gentlemen traveled overseas on big ocean liners. It had leather straps stitched over the top of the trunk and a broken padlock. Kneeling in front of the trunk, little A held her breath as Tammy pushed back the lid. The inside smelled of mothballs, but the little girls could see a pile of old clothes, which they pulled out into a heap on the dusty floor. Look at this, cried Tammy, holding up a funny-looking pair of men's trousers with braces. Pops wears pants like these. Little A dug around in the trunk and pulled out a midnight blue dress with layers of tulle net skirt which sparkled with inky blue sequins. How pretty! Look, Tamara! Little A stepped into the dress, which was much too long for her, as she twirled around and around, and when she stopped twirling, little A realized Tamara was gone. And that's the end of part 1.